Hey guys, SGT here. Couldn't be more happy to have Bob Chapman back on the line for our bi-monthly visit. Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Great to be here.
Great to have you back. Say, I want to talk about a lot of things, and I have a very specific question from one of our viewers. But I want to lead with this headline, which is, it's shell-shocking how quickly the tyranny is unfolding in the United States of America, this formerly free republic. And out of Indiana, we're seeing the Supreme Court say that citizens have no right to resist unlawful police entry, Bob, in a move that flies not only in the face of the U.S. Constitution, but defies common law dating back to the Magna Carta of 1215. The Indiana Supreme Court has ruled that residents have no right in that state to resist unlawful police entry into their homes in a 3-2 decision. What do you make of it? We are under extreme attack here in this country.
It's to be expected from a court system which is controlled from behind the scenes in Washington by members of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberger Group. It's the Illuminati's actions to break down the structure of the United States. And all I can tell the people of Indiana is that you might just as well move. But I don't know where you're going to move to, because that was a Supreme Court decision, or a similar one in the U.S. Supreme Court, that essentially said the same thing. And unfortunately, that's why people are leaving the country. There's other reasons as well.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, Bob, if we don't have property rights, we have nothing. We are slaves, and many of us already believe that that's the case, but we are slaves. The ruling is a blatant assault on the Fourth Amendment, which states, quote, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So if they are going to now fly in the face of all rational thought, belief, and history, we're screwed. I mean, they're really wanting to push this into some sort of shooting war, it looks like to me, Bob.
Well, I don't think that they think that the Americans will do that, and they will. And the military is behind the American people. They're not going to follow Washington's orders because they consider them an illegal order, whether it's by the president or not, because most of them individually don't accept the president as their leader. I mean, you saw the live birth certificate that came out. It was an insult to anybody's intelligence, just like the insult of bin Laden being killed when he's been dead 10 years. But they think people are going to believe that, and they're wrong. What's going to come of this? Another incursion into your life. I just put a video on link into the forecast for tomorrow's issue about the Tennessee police, and they got drugs coming in on one side of the highway from Mexico, and in the other they have money going out, and they make one stop for every 12 stops on the money side, and all they're interested in doing is confiscating everybody's money, and it's in the millions and millions of dollars. And the police chief said, well, if they don't get us enough money, we fire them.
They can't afford it. I mean, people are losing their homes, people are losing their jobs, and still the state wants, they want, what's the saying, blood from turnips. They want blood from the stone, Bob.
Well, they should all move to Latin America, because if you get stopped by the police, you hand them your license and $10. Mm-hmm. They smile at you, hand your license back, and they say, be careful.
Now, you're saying, is that a form of bribery?
Well, of course it is.
Okay, but I know
the guy's making $600 a month, and he wants to double his income, so that's how they do it. And usually you've broken the law, so you don't argue. You handle the license and the $10, and that's it.
But that's what I meant, almost rhetorical question, in the sense that there are now countries in the world where that form of blatant corruption is a much more palatable way of life than what we're currently facing here, which is the tyranny of the state.
You're absolutely right. The tyranny of the state. And they have made people like you and I into terrorists.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle. Let me ask you this. I want to throw 3 headlines at you, and I'm going to give you one at a time, and then I'm going to give you the headline, and then I want the Bob Chapman breakdown. I want your reaction. Number 1, criminal probe into Goldman starting. U.S. prosecutors subpoena vampire squid. Here's the body copy for you, Bob. This is from Zero Hedge, and I quote, "In yet another confirmation that Goldman's multi-million-dollar push to advertise its humanitarian image on various websites has been a colossal failure, that the Wall Street Journal has just broken news that the firm will shortly be the proud recipient of yet another barrage of legal inquiry in the form of subpoenas relating to its mortgage-related business, only this time not from the SEC, but from criminal prosecutors." It's the mortgage fraud.
But the question is, who brought the action? It certainly wasn't the U.S. attorney. It had to be the attorney's office in New York City, which is the Southern District Federal. But anyway, good. They shouldn't have got away with it. And they should also bring in all the others that package those syndications and do the same thing to them. And who would that be? Morgan Stanley, J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Deutsche Bank. I mean, these were the top companies who were involved.
Mm-hmm.
But they always bypass the raters, the ones that do the ratings, and that's S&P, Moody's, and Fitch. And the answer in court was why they didn't bring action against them was that they were just voicing an opinion. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But they should be included. They're all crooks.
Well, yeah. Well, and we see Matt Taibbi's articles in the Rolling Stone about Hank Paulson, former head of Goldman Sachs, and him holding Congress over a barrel of the American people for the bailout. I mean, it's all so blatantly obvious. And what I've spoken about with others, like Chris Duane, in an interview that I just posted the other day, a guy who goes by the name Silver Shield, who writes some really nice articles, we talked about the fact that in China, they will execute you for this type of malfeasance, for crimes far less than Goldman Sachs has gotten away with.
Well, I think that we should get the Chinese over there to New York City right away so they can tell us exactly, how we should treat these people. I mean, it's the only thing they understand. They're filthy rich. They think they're above the law. They're brazen. They're arrogant. And they do anything they want because they're members of the Illuminati. And this is what this is all about. That's why they're taking the financial system down deliberately, so that they can control everybody by giving them no financial or economic alternative to world government. This is the key to the whole thing. And most of these newsletter writers, journalists, etc., they don't have a clue. They don't want to talk about it. Some of them don't even know about it. But these people are all connected together. Obviously, that Indian guy, Raj, he wasn't in the group, and neither was Madoff. But if you're in the group, you never get prosecuted.
Well,
now this action in New York.
Yeah, I was going to say with the IMF.
I don't know whether they'll let that go forward. It'll be interesting to see. Elliot Spitzer was found with some hooker because he was looking too far, and he was dumb enough to do something like that.
Sure, but he kept his mouth shut, and they gave him a TV show.
That's right.
So I think this head of the IMF this is a message being sent to all the other globalists around the world. You don't want to play ball? You want to do exactly what we say and when we say it? I mean, who knows, Bobby? I'm not saying he's not
Wait a minute.
I'm not saying he's not a serial rapist.
It's not a guess. You're right. And I'm one of the few people along with you that say that. The rest of them are frightened to say that. Number one, he wanted to use the SDR and not the dollar. Number two, he wanted to stop the banks in the City of London and Wall Street from looting the third world countries like they've been doing in the IMF since its inception. And they didn't want that. And so between the two of them, they said, hey, you got to go. You either do what we say or you're out of here. And what they did is they set them up. I mean, does somebody believe for 1 second that a billionaire is going to chase a Muslim, black immigrant, probably doesn't even speak English, around the hallways in a $3,000 a night suite? No, I don't think so.
Probably not when he can get a $5,000 a night hooker sent over without any problems.
That's right.
All right, Bob. Well, from the grab bag of recent headlines, here comes another one for you. China becomes world's largest gold buyer, buys 93.5 tons of gold coins, bars in Q1. Gold ownership rising from minuscule levels. Again, from Zero Hedge.
Did you say China?
Yes, China becomes world's largest buyer of gold.
Absolutely. They have been Well, they put India in second place. You're getting big action out of the Middle East. Even we got a 94-point-something ton buy by Mexico. Thailand's a buyer, and many of these central banks are secretly buying. And they got to get rid of those dollars, and the Chinese certainly are. So there's no end to this. I mean, every time they knock it down, it's going to come right back up again. I'm going to tell you this, too. A friend of mine spoke with the head of one of the major exchanges, and he said, and this was 2 weeks ago, we're getting 1,000 complaints a day between the ASE, NYSE, NASDAQ, SEC, and CFTC. Now they're getting 3,000 a day. What are they people saying? You're corrupt. The system is rigged. We want it stopped. The naked shorting. We know what you're doing. Now, I don't think the people who are writing expect them to do anything about it, but they are telling them, we know what you're doing, and there's going to be a time when there's going to be retribution, because these people are not going to win. We are.
No, you're right, but now I'm going to give you this third headline because it all ties in together. You're absolutely right, and people are getting the retribution in the form of physical. Here's the next headline. It's the Zero Hedge News Hour grab bag. Investors pick physical gold over ETFs in Q1. COMEX registered silver just hit a fresh all-time low. So people are buying the physical, Bob.
And they're going to run COMEX right out of business, and that's going to be expedited by the new Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange, which started doing 32-ounce, which is 1 kilo contracts, as we know it, Wednesday night, which was 2 nights ago.
Right.
And I got a letter from one of the subscribers this morning. It'll be in tomorrow's issue, inquiring when are you going to do silver, and they come back and said 2 or 3 months.
Oh.
So all you people that didn't know, you know now, and it's all in the International Forecaster.
Fantastic.
And so what they're doing is they're buying, they're going, have long positions in both metals, and then New York opens, they knock them back down again. And COMEX will probably lose 1/3 of their business real fast. All the Asians aren't going to go to COMEX when they can go to Hong Kong, never mind everybody else in the world. And so they may have a gold and silver pit at COMEX with nobody in it. I'm a buyer. I'm buying today. I bought yesterday. I bought the day before, but I buy physical. But silver's going higher. It's just the timing is so difficult. Until the inclination or announcement that we're going to have something like QE3 comes, and this is all baked into the cake already.
Right.
And I predicted this last May.
Right.
We're going to have a QE3. They can call it something else, but it's not going to make any difference. What are we talking about? Between 1.7 and 2.5 trillion.
They bumped through the debt ceiling, Bob.
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth. That's why they're going after the federal pension money. Mm-hmm. And they're not taking it out. They're just not putting any in, and they're diverting it to keep the government going. The move is on. It began 2 years ago to steal your IRAs and your 401ks. If you don't get out, you're going to end up with a government-guaranteed program, and they're going to steal all your assets. And if you stay in, you're dumb. Get out, pay the taxes, pay the penalty. At least you've got what you've got. If you can't get out, borrow against your 401k. And there's another bill coming up, I just wrote about this morning, where they want to change the rules that you can borrow against your 401k. These people are real beauties.
A bird in the hand here. I mean, it's better to take what you can get now as opposed to being left with nothing when the criminals steal it.
Absolutely. And I've been warning about this for a long time. We had a lot of subscribers roll out, and I'm happy for them. And they all say, I feel so good about doing that. And you people out there, believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I get into the heads of these people. I understand the criminal mind. Actually, I should have probably been a cop. But anyway, I know what they're going to do because I just do. And I've been right on all this stuff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster, one of the greats. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Okay, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, you're good, man. Take care.
Until next time, thanks for watching.